Back with another Depraved and Debaucherous, a new study links problematic pornography use to the desire to avoid unpleasant thoughts and feelings. Pornography, when it's not even something, it's someone that you're attached to, someone that you are intimately connected to. If it's just somebody from afar, it's just like relationships that are long distance. It's just like virtual relationships as well. They're just not good. They're just not good for you. And you need to realize that you need to always have the feeling that you can always remove yourself or step away or just separate yourself from what there is out there because it's just not good for you. So this study brings the point in here from SciPost. There's a journal post in Sexual Health and Compulsivity. They say that while pornography can be a healthy part of sex life, for some it can become a problem. It's considered problematic when it leads to negative consequences in various areas of life, work, school, personal relationships, and becomes difficult to control. When your mind just continues to go along and just think about porn, the porn that you watch, whatever got you off earlier in the day, things like that, and that you look forward to go back and viewing again and masturbate. That's what it is. When you have only that to go off of, that's really not good. So the authors of this new study, they wanted to understand scrupulosity, which is characterized by pathological guilt or obsession associated with moral or religious issues. Yeah, so if you have a fear of God. Experiential avoidance, characterized by the unwillingness of a person to experience distressing memory, thoughts, and emotions. So when you've had things that happened to you in your past that you're trying to suppress, negative emotions, negative reactions, negative memories, that the researchers were interested in the dark tetrad of personality traits on how this associates someone that is interested in pornography with these kind of tendencies, that they might have traits of narcissism, Machiavellianism, psychopathy, and sadism. And so they go along into the study, 672 participants, the average age is 26 years old, and there was a scale which is used to assess distress and functional impairment, excessive use, control difficulties, and escapism related to pornography use. Trying to look at a different world, right? Fantasyland. So those who scored high on the measure of problematic pornography were going to be a higher notice for feeling guilty or obsessed, right? And so they're basically saying that someone would admit to saying, I spend too much time planning to and using pornography. And then there's also the same statement they can say, well, I must try hard to avoid having certain immoral thoughts. And I fear that I might be an evil person. Because when you get yourself into that and you really don't have any moral feelings or any kind of thoughts of like, wow, this is not good. Because what you want is the real thing. If you want someone to, get you off, that's what you want. Physical interaction. Avoid all this. And you know what? This is where I can almost justify. And look, I'm not encouraging. I'm not saying anything about it. I'm just making this point. When you realize that there are men out there that instead of seeing pornography as the gateway to getting yourself some kind of sexual pleasure, when it's virtual and it means nothing, then I understand where some people decide, okay, you know what? If I want to go to a place where they do happy endings, a massage place, or they go to a strip club and go to a champagne room, or they find some stranger that's out there walking a street, I can kind of understand and justify why they do it. Is it right? No, because you still want to have somebody that's real, that is with you, that you've gone through the steps to become intimate with. You feel that your heart, leans towards them. That's what you want. It's all of us trying to strive to that. And that we can't just give up on it. Even though a lot of guys out there, I'm sure, and a lot of girls out there too, I want to understand too. I've talked about this before when it comes to pornography, about how when it's much more beneficial for women than it is for men. And I said before that I've dated girls that absolutely, when I knew they watched porn, they were much more engaging, much more excited, much more positive in the interactions and more enjoyable. But that's what I knew about that. But for men, it's really tough. And that's what needs to happen here, is that They didn't say it was all men on here, but I would imagine it's going to be men that are the ones that are going to be most concern to me anyway in here. Now, they talked about when it comes to people, and I would say the majority is men, expressing Machiavellianism, psychopathy, sadism, but not narcissism, were positively correlated with problematic pornography use. So it's the pornography use that leads these guys, partly because some guys might be nice, okay? And becoming nice guys and feeling left out, feeling that they're not the lack of satisfaction or the lack of love or empathy or compassion that another significant other gives them. Not just any significant other, but the ones they're interested in the most. And they cannot have what they want. Then they go to this route to channel their aggression, channel their emotion, look at visual images, depictions, things where obviously when you know about pornography, you know that quite a bit of it is penetration, and it's guys that are, or sometimes girls that are, they're not having sex with somebody just for the fun of it. They're having sex and it's very dominant and aggressive and sadistic, as they said. So that's what's going on. And so the guys get off on the parts of that create that sadism, that create that aggression, that narcissism, that manipulation, if you will. Because then they think that maybe some of the women that are on these porn stars that are on here, that's how they really think and that's how they really act. No, it's make-believe. It still is that at the end of the day. Now, the findings could help inform future interventions for individuals struggling with this. But the authors note there still is a need for future research. And they had participants only report on their pornography use, self-report. They didn't use any analytics on time spent with engaging with pornographic material. So they didn't test anybody with pornographic materials to see what they would do. Anyway, the study is called The Role of Scrupulosity, Experiential Avoidance of Dark Tetrad, and Problematic Pornography Use. And that's been made available in the Sexual Health and Compulsivity Journal. Let's go into one other story that also talks about pornography on this edition. That it also might serve as a means of existential escape among those suffering from boredom. So not only are you doing something where you're trying to, suppress or disassociate from reality, where things are not going well in your love life or your social life, romantically, sexually, period. Then pornography can also be a gateway to escape and, suspension of disbelief. Get yourself into another world that feels different. And that's for some guys that might be gaming, that might be, various things that can be done if it's by yourself and it's pornography. It's like that. So another story from SciPost, they talk about this. And they found out that people may engage in unhealthy eating, impulsiveness, or endorse promiscuous attitudes. And they investigated whether pornography consumption may also serve as an escape from the threat to meaning in life being posed by boredom. And this was 179 adults in Ireland and the United Kingdom. They found that boredom, proneness, and emotional avoidance mediated the association between perceived meaninglessness and pornography use. Other words, my life has no clear purpose. Or in most situations, it is hard for me to find something to do or to keep me interested. And porn provides an opportunity to be distracted from life's challenge. They also said that greater perceived meaninglessness was also associated with using pornography for sexual pleasure and to provide novelty in life. So something spicy, something interesting, something different. And sexual sensation seeking via boredom susceptibility. And that's what they're worrying about as well, is that it's the cure for boredom. Well, might as well go and just get myself off. It's not surprising to hear all of this. But for me, I would understand if you are a guy out there and you're talking to a girl, and listen, if you persuaded her and she consents and she's giving you something they're going to look at, pictures, videos, whatever it is, and it's from her, and it's something that is, genuine and intimate, and it's kind of out of love and, kind of a seduction or something like that, that makes more sense to me than it does when it means nothing. when there's no actual connection whatsoever. This is why young guys out there, please understand, I'm trying to go and put this out to you. Porn is really not even a last resort. It's something that you should avoid altogether. Go have sex. Go find sex as you can with somebody that will consent with you. And trust me, there are people that will do it for pay-per-play, and there will be those girls that you could try to find that might want friends with benefits, and maybe you could find that route. But try as much as you can to avoid porn at all costs. There's a reason why it's free, because there's no value to it. It's not worth anything to you. So don't make it worthy. Don't value the time you spend on there. It's free for a reason. So stop it, please. From your Uncle King of Podcasts. And, in the meantime, go and do the things that are out there. Go fool with chicks or guys or whatever tickles your fancy, because we're all a little depraved and debaucherous.